at GE Power Conversion and Chief Scientist and at IBM Research Australia, as well as a turned professorship at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, USA, an alumni of IIT Madras, Ohio State University, and RP. Dr. Shiv is a distinguished alumni of IEEE and INAE Fellows. I request you, sir, to please give your thoughts.
All these wonderful festivals on the same day, and it's very hard for me to keep track of all the festivals. A wonderful day, and thank you for inviting me on this first foundation day of CSR Expert. And also my compliments and best wishes to Dr. Mishra Janani and Dr. Kamkar as well. You've been relentless in chasing me and, and making sure that I show up here. And I'm glad to finally come here. So I thought I'll share with you a little bit about Anrf, so that it might be helpful for all the both the faculty as well as the students, and also some of the things we are trying in Anrf from our own communication and outreach. Of course, we have a lot to learn from expert and so on, and I hope that since I come from the world of AI and other things, that we might have something to share with you as well. So, so what I'll do is I'll spend a few minutes just giving an idea of NRF and how we intend to catalyze India's rise as an research and innovation powerhouse. First, as you see here, in terms of communication, I already have a QR code for my LinkedIn and other things. So one of the things in modern media is also to not only embrace your own portals and so on, it is also important to work with global platforms, especially I was so pleased to hear about the global aspirations and world-class goals. And if you want India to be a research and innovation powerhouse, the first thing is we have to think global and in whatever we are doing, and world-class and interaction in everything we do. So I'm so pleased to see the top level thing. And as we go along, I will also try to make connections to various things that Dr. Gita mentioned and Dr. Vishwajani mentioned. Um, the genesis of NRF comes from the National Education Policy, where the NRF, National Research Foundation, was mentioned as an entity which could provide both consistent and focused support for interdisciplinary research and to enable collaboration across all stakeholders. So by the time it became an act and NRF was notified as a statutory body, just about 2 years from now, in fact next next month we will have our foundation day as well and coming up. So it's the first foundation day we'll be celebrating. So the governance structure, as CSR, we share the same president. We are all both fortunate that the Honorable Prime Minister of India is the president of our institution as well. And we have a governing board and an executive council chaired by the principal scientific advisor. Okay. All right. And I focus on the execution of the efficient administration of the foundation. So this is like a one-slide summary of ANRF, where we are a mechanism of the Government of India, and our goal is to be a catalyst organization. And the biggest catalyst we have is money, which we support our funding that we send. But our goal again is to use funding to change behaviors and to drive change in the ecosystem. We would like India to become a research and innovation powerhouse as recognized by the world. That is the, and what that means is, and for society we want to have impact. For whether you look at it from a deep tech or a technology perspective, we want to have impact. We want trillion-dollar product companies to be formed, right? At the same time, we want to focus on solving some of the hardest societal problems. So I think NRF as an organization, when we do funding, we will be thinking backwards from impact. Okay, whatever it takes for impact, outcomes, and so on. It's no longer about inputs, like how much funding we are getting, or even outputs like I'm publishing papers or communication and so on. But for a nation to become great, those outputs or technology or innovation has to diffuse through the economy, has to get translated into products, or other things, or diffuse to have societal impact, okay, at scale. So it's not just important to say I've done a technology transfer and be happy with it, right? So it's important to go all the way and say, what responsibility can I take? Of course, you can't do everything. Like Einstein suddenly cannot become Elon Musk. Okay, so it is important to collaborate so that the entire journey of diffusion happens. And science communication, policy, all of these elements, right, are super important in the diffusion process, right? So since the impact can only happen if there is diffusion, and also the other thing I have seen in my own career is that if you are able to communicate clearly, in fact, you can pose your problems better. You can understand what you're doing better. You can also be more impact driven or societal use driven in your thinking. Of course, it is very important to also have curiosity driven research. You can be either curiosity driven and or purely science driven, but also you can be driven by use cases. Both of these are equally important for in our mission. But as you think of the future of excellence and the role you're going to play, think more not about any numbers and quantity, but think more about quality, think more about impact, outcomes, and what the nation needs, and think backwards from that and see what is it that you're doing that fits into that puzzle. Okay, and we are all puzzle pieces, right? We may be doing something, you may be doing something. How do we come together and we integrate with each other and for that impact? So what we are trying to do is to do a few things well. Of course, we are doing funding and we have a few mechanisms. Right now we have an RDI fund that is focused on the private sector. It is focused on giving patient capital. It is not a grant program, and it is a program where we are focused on translation and scale up, because private sector is the natural partner for that. And again, it is focused in a way that Anrf is not the primary allocative agency. We would provide capital to intermediaries or financial intermediaries who then go further and allocate. And the core part of our mission, which is more of grant programs, again, we have a foundational mission of supporting our research enterprise, which is the academia, the labs, and the broader research organizations. But also we have a translational emphasis to be able to take specific sectors and accelerate them, or to take specific industry academic collaborations to accelerate them, and accelerate for impact, not just some namki-vaste collaboration, not some two people. So it's good that individuals need to come out of their silos and say that together we want to solve nation problems, because big things, even Nobel Prizes are won because of teams. So, and Nobel Prizes are often one of the edges of disciplines. Even though the Nobel Prize might be given in physics or chemistry, the actual work might be done at the edge of physics. The recent Nobel Prize was done using artificial intelligence for protein folding, which actually got a chemistry Nobel Prize, for example, or if I recall correctly. But I think, so it is important to understand that problems do not represent disciplines. Disciplines are important for depth. But as we graduate from just doing whatever we're doing to having that disciplinary depth towards solving problems, it is important to have that disciplinary depth, but collaborate with each other and try to solve bigger problems, and and solve for impact of the nation. So impact is the one message I would like to drill, and think backwards from impact. And communication is a key part of impact, right? If I can communicate better, I can understand what I'm saying better, and that also helps me formulate better problems. So anyway, so RDA is a special mechanism. I'll not talk too much about it, but our goal is to work through second level financial intermediaries who then finally allocate. This is a scheme that is being rolled out. DSP is closely involved. And as you think about it from your policy lens, you can look at how all these pieces plug in together, where are the gaps, and then give us guidance about where are the opportunities for new mechanisms, and so on and so forth. Because Anrf as a mechanism, we also have special purpose fund. RDA itself is a special purpose fund. We could have other sectors focus special purpose funds which can do things, but it has to be different from what RDA is doing, or different from what our core missions are doing, and so on. Right? We also have an innovation fund. We can do things like that. So I'd welcome an expert to think harder and see and be an outside observer because we are so busy executing, but they would appreciate guidance on it. So from our other strategic, rest of our grants portfolio, we think in two frames. One is broad-based or horizontal funding, where like in our ARG program, Advanced Research Grant Program, we give hundreds or over 1,000 grants a year in that. But there, I'm interested in supporting the bread and butter, but even there we're asking people to think bigger and more collaboration. So this year I'm happy to say that we got many more collaborative proposals and genuine collaborations that we were pleased to support. And then that forms the foundation. Then you take particular verticals and you want to provide acceleration. So that comes through vertical type focused research. And think of you can think of the horizontal more like National Science Foundation, vertical more like DARPA, and so on. But we still have to be more bolder. So we're thinking of formats like DARPA challenges and things where we can bet on moonshots and things of that nature. But we have to not just use vocabulary like moonshots, but we really have to push the boundaries and make impact of that kind. Of course, we should also move away from conformity and be ready to fail and be satisfied that when you have a portfolio approach where if you think of a portfolio of stocks or bonds and other things, not every single instrument is going to fire. Similarly, not every single project is going to be successful. I think we have to be satisfied in having a portfolio approach, and a few subset of that might be successful. But failure is nothing to be disgraced about. It is just a learning, and we move on. And in fact, Silicon Valley was built on a lot of failures, and then people went on to be successful, and so on and so forth. So I think that approach of how do we provide focus, how do you provide really pushing the boundaries.